loss reduction system applied. So we've done that as well. What can we do with the D3s? Well, basically, we've added another stop to 12,800 baseline. We've added not one, not two, but 3 ISO levels. That brings this camera up to 102,400 equivalent ISO. We've also added movie. It's a bit of the Me Too gadget, if you like, of 2009. Every SLR seems to need to have it. We took it a bit differently. It's motion JPEG, 24 frames per second. Like the D300S, you can edit the start and the stop of the movie in the camera. But you can do one other thing, which is really important and unique. You can play back the movie in the camera and save any of those frames as a single JPEG. That's the advantage of the motion JPEG format that we have. The motion JPEG is the still frame is the same format as the movie. A lot of our customers in the news business, in the wire agencies who transmit thousands of pictures a day, told us it would be great to have movie. That's something new for them, but they always need to make sure they've got a still picture as well. And any of you who've used DSLR movie modes know that if something happens really quick, it's not too easy to switch off the movie and take a still picture. This is one option for people. The great thing about the D-Movie concept in our camera is it's picture control compatible, and you can utilize the full ISO range. We have a high sensitivity movie mode, we call it, which utilizes any of the ISO sensitivity levels between 6400 and high 3. So yes, you can shoot movies at 102,400 ISO if you want. But sound is really important as well. Obviously, we've put in a stereo microphone jack, similar to the D300S. There's mono on board, and it's really well integrated into the whole system. And a minor change from the D3 is the HDMI slot has been made smaller to make space for the microphone jack. We've got a lot of automatic and sensitivity settings in the camera as well. The D3 had 2 crop modes. You have a full frame and 2 other mini modes. That wasn't enough. We've added a third option for photographers. It's on the left. It's what we call 1.2 times. It's about 30 by 20 millimeter frame coverage. I hope you can see that black line there. That's roughly the sort of the size of the frame compared to the full frame. All of these are masked automatically in the viewfinder. The DX format, of course, you can shoot at 11 frames per second as before. The new format is really for photographers who want a little bit more lens magnification and a slightly smaller file size. Even 12 megapixel cameras can produce files that may be too big for some people, even with some reduction in sizing. So this is some feedback we've got from the photographers in the industry. They've asked us for this so we could implement it. We've improved the handling of the camera. I think any of you who've used the D3 think it feels really good in the hand, the buttons feel in the right place. It's a real photographer's camera. But still there were some modifications that could be done. Improvements, tuning. We don't leave things alone. We like to try to make things better all the time. So at the top there you can see a D3. There's the old live view switch in the release mode dial. That's now gone. It's replaced by a quiet release mode that mitigates shutter noise. And the live view button is now on the back of the camera. The live view button is what activates the movie mode. So it's in a really useful place. It's within reach of the thumb. You'll find this out later when you pick up the camera. It makes for a smoother integration between shooting stills and movies. Okay, the buffer. Certainly if you're shooting with features like active delighting, the buffer wasn't always large enough. Just firing away on a JPEG was okay. But when you were shooting with some active delighting or raw files, the buffer was a little bit small. As we did with the D3, you can have an option to upgrade it. It's now built in. It's more than double the size, which means you can get up to 42 raw 12-bit lossless files in the buffer. really a huge difference, more than 2 times the size. Even though the buffer itself is twice the size, because of the processing systems and so on, it's actually effectively more than two and a half times almost. Okay, the autofocus system of the D3, I think you'll agree is pretty good, hard to beat. I know some of you have been telling us, what can you do better? Is it possible to make things better? Well, we think so. It's the same system essentially, it's in the D3. It's been tuned to be better, so that's it as it is. 51 points with the 15 cross points in the middle, all individually selectable. I hope that's not me. Yeah, a very effective system. So what have we done? We've improved the algorithms, the tuning, the acquisition of the camera to be able to pick up subjects faster. There's more control for the lock-on feature in the AF-on, so you can have more control over the amount of time it takes to lock onto a subject again during autofocus. And we've also improved the contrast detect system that works when the live view or the movie mode is running. And it's actually 30% faster, roughly, than the D3 live view function. That's the autofocus system, contrast detect system. Again, we better try this out later, of course. Another important thing, something we inherited from the consumer market, but it's very equally important for pros, is the ability to process raw files in camera. So, any raw file can be processed with 7 parameters. You can change the adjust the image quality setting and save it as a JPEG. The size, all of the parameters of white balance are available. Exposure compensation. You can change the picture control setting that was captured at the moment of the picture being taken. The ISO noise reduction, the color space, and even the vignette control. So you're really getting a lot more control over the file and the camera, spending hopefully a little bit less time on the computer afterwards. This is again something that a lot of photographers have been asking us. Yes, you can capture a raw file and a JPEG, but sometimes you want to do something with that raw file that couldn't be done at the moment of capture. Tweak it, tune it again for another type of client, for another type of use, and send it away real quick. For me, I'm a bit of a nerd. I like the small things, the buttons, the small changes. The big things are great, everybody gets that, but it's the details as well that matter. A lot of photographers just want us to look at a button, look at a setting. So here are some of the more details that have been done on the camera. The virtual horizon display, I don't know if you've used that. The layout that looks like a cockpit of an aeroplane. Orientation indicator, if you like, of an aeroplane. That is now visible during movie recording, so you can keep the camera level even when you're recording a video. We've improved the variety of options for active delighting, make better quality pictures in high contrast lighting conditions. The bracketing improvements, and now of course you can write movies to one compact flash card and the stills to another if you wish. Previously you could do quite a few things with these 2 cards. Now you have the extra option with the movie function to put the movie to a separate card. The AF-on button. For the guys who like Bill Frakes, this is probably the most important button on the camera. We have a lot of feedback about it from photographers who are using it, especially in cold weather. And it's been changed for improved sensitivity, more responsive, more better feel, especially when you're wearing gloves, for example. And the very important multi-selector button, which has so many different functions, has also been tuned, made easier, more positive, more intuitive, just feels better to use than the previous one.